It has been 3 weeks since the start of the war. The war for Coldread. Casualties have been mounting. PrincessPashley's castle town and Zamoody's tower now stand as last bastions of safety. Grim, the Reaper, commander of Coldread's armies, holds a war council in Pashley's castle.
This meeting of the War Council is called to order. Please, have some good news for a change.
It took a while, but we've managed to put down all of the pig monsters along the northern side of the city.
Bashed the last one skull in myself.
It's no good. The more leaders we kill, the more they just seem to sprout out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere? Some ungodly orifice, more like. These things were born of Hell herself.
I think we can melt down and reuse their iron and steel. But without access to my forge, it's gonna take longer than usual.
I understand. At least conventional weapons still prove effective. PrincessPashley, what about the Navy?
I was able to break the spell bewitching our sailors. We fought off the sea creatures, but a ghost ship burst out of the water, only to chain several vessels together and drag them down. We lost half the fleet. No survivors.
One crisis after another. Captain Badger, what news from the Bard's College?
It isn't looking good, sir. The bloodsuckers have made it their home and some maniac is burning people outside of the gates. My troops are fighting as best they can, but it's a wee bit demoralizing when the man singing the shanty starts speaking in tongues and turns into a zombie. We've set up a good defense around the perimeter, but it may not last long. They await your orders.
Do not engage. Continue to observe where possible. We lost one battalion to those beasts already. We can't afford another. Captain Fire, report from the Hollow.
Sir? Are you sure you want to know?
Just tell me. It's my home. I need to know.
Brigands attacked the Hollow and burned it to the ground. No survivors. I'm sorry, sir.
I'll bring them back.
Sorry, sir. What do you mean?
Don't look so surprised. Why do you think they call me the Reaper? Renara, reports on Mystic Division.
The fungus has spread rapidly, causing foul and toxic damage to the grove. My witches are struggling to maintain its health. We still have the option of a controlled burn, but it's only a matter of time.
PrincessPashley, where is Zamoody the wizard?
Zamoody is still deep within his archives, searching for something to combat the source of this evil. But I do agree with Renara, time is not on our side.
I am aware. Our enemy's numbers are endless. Conventional weapons can win battles but won't win the war. If we can't figure out something soon, we can only hope Zamoody finds what he's looking for. Lord Pumpkin, how goes the supply chain?
The farmlands have fallen victim to some strange blight, turning most of the crops into crystals. I know, it sounds crazy, but it's true. Fortunately, the last harvest was a surplus. We can keep the city going for another 3 months, maybe 6 if we ration. Although, I must say, the recent smell of burning pork does not help the situation.
Hi! If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have a city.
Exactly. Burning them is the only option we have. Unless you want us to make stuffed pork tenderloins out of them.
Oh, gods. Don't talk about the pork again. I know you're not meant to eat it, but it smells so good.
I swear by the voice.
Do you only
I
think
will
that
not
smell
sit
is
idly by while my home is
This isn't helping anything. Go down.
Don't you dare call my mother that. She is not a pig.
You listen here,
Literally.
Listen to me.
Outside doesn't mean you gotta set them on fire.
Alright, that's enough.
I found it!
Always one for the dramatic entrance.
Perfect timing. Although cutting it a little close this time, Zamoody.
What have you found?
The way to win this war. Here. I found it on the last shelf of the last rack, in the farthest part of the library.
Spit it out, Beardo the Great.
It says the only way to combat this evil is to fight our way to the heart of the enemy. We've been on the defensive too long. The book states it thrives off of suffering and misery.
Running blindly into the heart of enemy lines sounds more like a suicide mission than an actual plan. Surely there must be something else we could...
What in the darkness was that?
What's
Oh,
going on?
lordy,
Hands up to the
All
right.
shaky like.
My lords and ladies, come quick! An undead army is marching into the city!
He knows we're on the right path. We must march quickly and take the fight to them.
Commander?
Sound the horn, my friends. The time for defense is over. We have our target. We must fight.
Let us take the fight to them! Fight! Brave soldiers of ColdRead, hold your ground! Hold your ground! This darkness has been left unchecked for too long. We have let it taint our lands, our minds, and our hearts. But no more! No more will we let ourselves succumb to this ashen plague. This plague that has gnawed at our spirits, drank from our souls, and festered on our very will! Our wizard, Zamoody, the founder of ColdRead, has led us here for one reason, and one reason only. We must strike at the heart of the darkness, cut it out at its core, and send what ruin is left back to the shadows from whence it came. Great soldiers of ColdRead, will you do this? Will you follow your commander? Will you defend ColdRead? Commander, they're all yours.
Warriors, do not fear these undead monstrosities, for your might will show them what true power is. These dead have not paid their fare, and I have come to collect. Now fight. Fight for your lives, for each other, for ColdRead!
Shards of ice, freeze my enemies!
Aha, take that! And that, you dirty scoundrel!
You're making me want to become vegetarian!
I esto!
I've never felt more alive!
Boys, take you! I will take you to the river personally.
You're gonna be pork chops.
It's over for you!
Die!
Rain hell from above!
Anyone have an actual
Who are you making bacon? Get him all! Die! Die! Die!
Oh, come
Good luck, heroes of ColdRead.
That's it!
Oh my goodness, that's it.
I'm sorry, it's so long, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure I could get everyone in though.
Right at the end?
Yeah, as many people, that was just one of everyone at the end there. And like, I just wanted to make sure everything was in.
Wow. Well, my goodness. Well, that was pretty crazy. Let's go ahead and get this part started, and then we're going to talk about this because welcome everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's fine. We can run over. It's okay.
Welcome everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whether you are here live or listening to us on YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcasts, welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. That incredible intro was done by Renara Hawke, and I believe co-written by Mattman.
Indeed, yes. Matt helped with the structuring of it, and me and Grim added a few bits and pieces at the end and everything. But yeah, no, it's a collaboratory effort.
Well, let me hand it off and say who are we thanking? Because my goodness.
Okay, so we have a lot of people. You heard some people who will be appearing in The Assassin in the Desert. We've got Josh Jargon, who's in the chats already. Hi, Josh. We've got Miss Edel, who is our Ansel, who was the really squeaky assassin. We have Pumpkin, who is one of my voice acting friends. He's in there too. We have obviously Eldurrino, Zamoody, Pashley. Oh god, I know I'm missing something.
Brian, I think.
Brian.
Burnham, yeah.
Our Robin Hamel, Badger Missile, who is in there as well as our Irish little commander or captain of the Irish forces, I guess.
Wow.
We have and Burnham. Burnham was in there too. In total, there was like 13 people in total.
Wow.
And Fire, who's in the chat as well. Hi, Fire.
Well, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, it was blown away. I'm sure you put in a lot of time into this.
It took me about 3 or 4 days straight. If you culminate all the hours together, it took about that long.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, the bar has now passed Mars and is going deeper into the solar system. And like I said, Pashley, it's your week coming up. Good luck following that. I'm happy it's not me. But yeah, oh my goodness, I was so looking forward to this. I'm so glad that I didn't hear anybody until the actual final product. It was just absolutely insane.
I do plan to make an extended version because there was a longer version.
Believe it or not, folks, that was the short version. There is apparently a 15-minute version that is still out there, so
it's funny
over some money.
As I'm downloading the file, it's like cold read intro, parentheses short, close parentheses, and it's 100 megabytes long audio file. It's not even video.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sorry at all.
No, not at all. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry about that. I mean, I thought it was great. It was epic. I don't think, like I said, it's going to be hard to top these now. But let's start with the show. So as we always do, we're going to check in on everybody. So Renara, I know we've been talking about what you've been up to, but what else other than putting this together? What have you been up to this week?
So, like a few weeks ago, I said everyone about my Skywind stuff that had I'd finished and got all that in. They have not only have they implemented some of the lines, they sent me some footage of my characters speaking my lines in the game, and so I got to see that for the first time, which is really cool. But also in their latest advertisement for Dunmer females, because we're still looking for them, they featured my voice in that audition as well, and it's like the first one you hear, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Nice.
I also had my first sort of icebreaker meeting for something else, which I got auditioned for a while back, but they aren't setting us off for it yet. It's for a Skyrim DLC sized mod called Odyssey of the Dragonborn, which I think links to the Legacy DLC or something like that. I'm not sure. And not only will I be getting my first IMDb credit for that, which is like, I'm like, oh my god. But also it's it's like super big and official, and I'm super excited for that, and it's just everything just went woo, okay. But yeah, no, that is me for this week.
Nice.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Eldurrino, how was your week?
It was not very exciting, sadly. I did manage to finish up the project that I was cast for a week or two ago. So very happy with that. It took a lot of collaborative effort because I come from a musical background, and like listening to the final product, I had a lot of input to make it even better. And I think the end result now is phenomenal. I'm very satisfied with it, to the point where like my girlfriend has listened to it multiple times now. She has heard me record it in the booth, all this stuff, and it still gets stuck in her head.
Nice.
So,
that's a good. Yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah. So, so that portion is done, and now the animation side needs to come next. That's probably going to take a few months to get all of that done because it is. It's only a few people working on it, I believe. But everyone on the team said that they're very blown away by like what we've pulled off as far as the musical track goes. So, yeah, very, very excited to see how that turns out. As far as other voice acting endeavors this week, there was none. I was still trying to push off this cold. It wasn't very awful. I probably could have gotten some auditions in, but I usually when I get colds, like the immediate symptoms go away, but then I'm left with like a slight cough or like phlegminess, especially in the back of my throat. And I really wanted to wait for that to go away completely before I decided to get back into it, just because I've heard my voice enough to know that it does affect my performance. Right. It kind of dampens the sound that I can do. So it has gone away, thankfully. So this week I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can to get as many auditions out as I can and see where things go from there. I've been keeping an eye on what's available. And I think there's still some that are available that I bookmarked. So I'm definitely going to be jumping on those as soon as I can.
Good.
As well as trying to think of some other ideas that I can incorporate to try to get my name out there. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's how this week has gone.
Nice. I'm going to fill in because Pashley's currently on the road. She's just driving out, and she says, speaking of booths, I now have an adapter to hook my mixer to my laptop, so I can now do shit in my closet. Nice. I don't think that's what a closet's designed for, but if you want to do audio recordings, though, it's good. Good. But yeah, thank you so much, Pash. Ravenmane, so stepping in since Pashley's on the road, we welcome our guest host today, Ravenmane.
Hello.
Hello. How was your week been, sir?
Oh, it was something else entirely. So I was on vacation this past week, which is really nice. I was down in the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And the trip was me and my girlfriend drove down. We were hanging out with her dad and two of her dad's friends, married couple. They brought their 3 children down, and the 3 kids also had friends down there, 3 teenage boys. First of all, teenagers are a nightmare. Number one, they're terrifying things to deal with.
You heard it here first, everybody. Fuck teenagers.
No, do not fuck teenagers.
Don't
do that.
This is true.
God damn it, Eldurrino.
We don't.
So,
hold on. I'm sorry. Cold Read the Podcast does not encourage fucking teenagers. All right, sorry. Continue.
So my girlfriend's father had asked that I bring down Rock Band because before the guitars started costing $150 a pop, I got the full band set up with the cymbals and everything. So I brought that down. I also went to a retro game store like 15 minutes away and spent an irresponsible amount of money on a guitar, so that this way there'd be the 2 guitars, the drums. I love that. That's what's good. And went down, brought the Rock Band. The quickest way to establish any kind of rapport with teenage boys specifically, I learned, is to be real fucking good at Rock Band.
Yeah, that works.
There's no quicker way to get these kids to respect you unquestionably than be good at Rock Band. Like, I went down there, none of them wanted to sing, and I was like, I don't want to fucking sing. So I ended up doing an 18-song set of just singing shit. That was great.
Nice.
They were like, wait. I was like, I sang like Make Damn Sure because I love that song. And I got like 100% on the expert difficulty. And they were like, how did you do that? I was like, oh, it's real simple. You just sing, guys.
You open your mouth and you make noises.
One of the kids was like, I bet I could beat you. I was like,
oh.
It's on.
Do you want to try? He was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, here. I'm going to stack the deck as much as I can against myself. All you have to do get a better percentage than me on any song of your choice.
Oh, you laid down the gauntlet.
Any song. I was like, I want you to play on easy. I'm going to play, for those familiar with Rock Band 4, there's a mode called Brutal Mode, wherein they block the notes. Like, so you can see them coming at like the very, very top of the screen, but you got to get your timing down. You got to know what's coming where. So he, for some reason, I don't know why he did this. He picked an easy song. He picked 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh.
Mm.
And I was like,
Easy
okay.
song. Yep.
Okay.
I was like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I love this song. I was like, okay. If you get a higher percentage than me on this song, I give you $20. He goes, you know what? If you get a higher percentage of me than this song, I'll give you 40. I was like, I feel like I'm sharking you right now.
Oh, okay.
I got like a 96. I had never done the brutal mode on that song. I got like a 96. It was fine. And the kid was like, 96, that's it? I was like, go ahead. He got like an 84.
No. Yeah, I think you might have just stolen. I'm sure. Did you accept the money or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I did not push the issue because
Okay.
I knew I was about to like when he said, "Oh, 1 week," I was like, "I'm gonna shark you. I'm gonna shark you so hard."
All you have to do is sit there and go. Well, welcome, Ravenmane. Thank you so much for sharing. For me, in my last week, it's a little on the rough side. We had some issues. We're getting some paperwork together. I've made the conscious decision now to actually put Twitch more to the side and concentrate more on the voice acting side.
Okay.
So I'm not allowed to start a stream until I have no more auditions left on voices.com. And that has caused me to make sure that I focus more on that. On the plus side, I've talked about me getting recruited to do an impersonation for a YouTuber.
Yeah.
They asked me to do some more lines for that, and that's another paid gig.
Nice.
And in addition, I just got a research text to speak for Spanish speakers that is going to pay me a lot more than I had initially invested in voices.com. So I will now be able to say that I've now surpassed, even if I would have paid full price for because I got it during Black Friday. So I'm super excited about that. I'm trying to get over a little technical glitch that I'm trying to figure out how to do because apparently my Audacity glitches out and records me at a higher speed at 4800 kilohertz, and that's where they want the voice setting. So I may have to invest in like better software for it. But hey, I mean, it'll pay for itself, so I can't really complain. But
this is true.
Those are the biggest things for me. I mean, I'm at that point. I realized the hardest thing on voices.com is to get past your initial hurdle and get those first reviews, because once you have those first reviews, people start picking you up. So I'm now going to use this momentum to carry me on a little bit and see if I can actually make a good run for this. So I'll be mostly on the weekends. I won't be on during the week as much anymore, but that's the big conscious decision on my part. So that's kind of my announcement for this particular week.
Nice. Well, congrats.
Thank you. So with that, Renara picked the topic this week, and I absolutely... I initially called it enhancing the performance, and then Eldurrino made fun of me about a little blue pill.
Yes. I'm sorry, you were begging for that one.
Yeah.
You had to have seen that one coming. Coming.
Wow.
Oh, boys.
Wow. So Renard, do you kind of want to walk through and talk about, because even the intro I think was kind of in that zone.
I wanted to talk about mainly it's more to do with character-based voice acting and the sort of stuff they wanted for Skywind, but can also bleed into any other games that you do. If your characters are like if they fight, or like in Sky, I can't remember what they're called, but if they move around and attack things and do stuff, there is going to be attack lines. There are going to be movement lines. There are going to be different things, different extra pieces, and I wanted to showcase that with everybody in the intro today because. I just wanted to talk about different things we could do in the booth to make those sound more believable. There's actually, I found my extras for my voice attack lines for Skywind and put them in the intro today because I was like, these ones aren't going to be taken. I can use them in here. And I just wanted to see what everybody's techniques might, if everyone's got techniques for those sorts of things in the booth. I want to know what you guys did when you recorded your bits for it as well, so and things like that, so we can all just sort of share our own experiences, share some don'ts, because I've got one that is a very big don't, but I still did it.
Ooh, I'm curious on this.
Shall I start with that one?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, so I started Skywind in 2016. I was fresh out of the gate. I had no idea not technically no idea what I was doing. I'd done drama and acting in school, but I wasn't quite. This was the first time I'd done like action-based lines and stuff. I wore a lot of corsets in university, and while they weren't like steel bone, they were plastic bone. So I was skinnier than I am now, and I used to wear like 2 underbust ones over each other round my waist. And so what I thought was, hey, this is good padding. So what I would do is that anytime I got hit, I would hit myself in the stomach.
Oh dear.
To actually, and now I'm just like going, that is a very bad thing to do. Do not do that. Do not do that, because you can damage yourself internally. Because from wearing those corsets, my ribs bent inwards and I ended up with a lot of bruises on my stomach. So it's important not to, if you haven't had training in physical acting, I think Ravenmane, you can counter this on that one. If you've not had training on physical acting, don't do stupid stuff like that. Is what I'll start with that.
Before you chime in, Fire and Brimstone says, "Damn it, Ren, that's unhealthy."
Yes, I know it is fire. You've told me several times already. But I will admit I wasn't very healthy in university, so I didn't know all of the stuff I know now. That was the first thing I did, and nobody told me not to, if you know what I mean, because I didn't have anybody to coach me through these things. But now, yeah, I don't know. Someone else take over now.
Ravenmane, let's see what input would you have for Miss Hawke?
Oh man.
Oh god, I'm in for it.
There's a really fun little anecdote that may be real. It may be completely made up, but I like the anecdote. Laurence Olivier was working on a project with Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman was doing his method acting bullshit. And at one point, Laurence Olivier just said to him, "Have you ever just tried acting?"
Yeah, I've heard this one before. That one before. Yeah.
Speaking to that, I did a musical a number of years ago called Floyd Collins. It is about a caver named Floyd Collins who got trapped in a cave in Kentucky.
Right.
And it's this weird phenomenon of, it was a huge news story in the 1920s, one of the biggest news stories. And the only reason that nobody really is familiar with this is because it was overtaken by another much more pressing story, the disappearance of the Lindbergh baby, as it were. So Floyd Collins is stuck in a cave. There's a scene in that movie, or musical rather, in which my character, I played Floyd's brother, Homer. Homer is very upset that his father really doesn't seem too pressed about the fact that one of his sons is trapped in a cave. So he mouths off to his father and says something to the effect of, "Tain't our fault that Mama died, and tain't our fault that you died with her," or something to that effect. And my father was scripted to slap the shit out of my face. And the director had talked about, we can just do a stage slap. And I said to the director, who was a good friend of mine, I said, he can slap me right across the face. It's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
Because for some reason, when there's some variety of physicality involved in anything, whether it's voice acting or acting on the stage or acting in a movie, there's people love this idea of just being tough. When Michael Jordan did the new Rocky movie, or the Creed, that's the one, Creed. When he did Creed, he was like actually getting his like shit rocked, like during that movie. And Sylvester Stallone was like real, like, "Oh, the kid's real tough," and like, sure, that's great.
Love Stallone, by the way.
Sometimes there's no real need for that, because what is the result of this? You run the risk of something going wrong or hurting yourself. Renara bent her ribs in and got bruising on her stomach. One night during Floyd Collins, my father, who had normally been very, very good about backhanding me in the face, ended up karate chopping me in the neck, and I went unconscious for like a couple. Like normally he'd hit me, and I would just like I'd take it on the cheek and I'd fall over, acting.
Yeah.
But this time he hit me in the neck, and instead of falling over, I just crumpled to the ground.
Oh my god!
And I hit the ground, like my shoulder hit the ground, so my head didn't hit the ground. My shoulder hit the ground. I kind of like woke back up. But either way, it's a needless thing. Like it's a needless thing to do. There's no need for excessive physicality. Sometimes it's okay to just act.
Yeah.
I like that. I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Any input, Dorino?
So while I do agree with that, when it comes to voice acting, I definitely like I'm somewhere in between like normal quote unquote acting and method acting, in that for the most part when I'm doing lines, I do think about the character, I do think about how the line should be delivered. But when it comes to doing like fight scenes or any type of action that might be scripted in the reading, I do act it out. This is evidenced in today's intro during it, and this leads me to my don't after the do. Is that when I was doing the lines, the character is a blacksmith. I imagined he would fight with a large hammer.
Yeah.
I thought of Monster Hunter as we were playing today. And that's really kind of what got me into it. I thought about very slow and sluggish, large, powerful impacts. And that's what I went for when I was doing it. I was in my booth with the limited space that I had. And I basically put my hands up as if I had a giant hammer in my hands and just started like swinging and making the effort sounds behind that. Now, so that I think is okay to do, but this leading now to my don't overdo it. I noticed I didn't bother to delete this out because I figured I'd just leave it in case you wanted to use it, Renara, but there is one specific one in which my mic was sitting right in front of me. And generally when I'm doing it, I kind of move myself to the side to avoid any extra breaths going directly into the microphone.
Yeah.
Well, during one of them, I swung and I went way too far past the mic.
Did you hit it?
No, I didn't hit the mic,
okay.
but my sound got very muffled. So instead of the clear like, it was. So it sounded
over that one.
Yeah, so it like I said, I left it in there because I wasn't sure, if you wanted to use it or you could use parts of it, whatever. But listening back to it, I realized it was a big mistake on my part. I shouldn't have moved away that far from the microphone. And it's really because I was trying to incorporate as much of my body into it as I could to make it sound more authentic. So when it comes to recording in the booth, I've seen other voice actors like behind the scenes things too, and they all do it if it helps the performance. If you feel like moving around a little bit is going to help you get into the character, to help you deliver the line more authentically, it is generally encouraged, but don't overdo it to the point where it screws up the take or screws up the audition, because then there's no point really to it.
Yeah, you did all that effort for absolutely nothing.
Yes.
My don't would be for this particular recording. Obviously, don't sneeze in the booth because that was really weird. I'm actually
trying to find a place to put that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that didn't make the cut somewhere. Or at least
you should have put it like right as he entered. He like he shows up and he's like.
No, it was like a full-on
extended version coming soon. Extended version coming soon.
Oh god dang it.
Send me that voice clip later and I'll use it.
So be careful, obviously be careful what you send in, because it's absolutely important. I generally tend to send in raw files, only because I may have missed something, or I don't want to take something out that they're interested in keeping.
Yeah.
Sure.
Renara hears this a lot. I do pick up a lot. If this is my do when you're in there, because if you're looking at pickup, let me download that file real quick and I'll show what I'm talking about. But I'll fill in as I'm trying to do this. If you do pick up, it has a very particular wavelength where it's like big wave, empty, big wave, and you know what you're looking for. And it really helps you when you're at the end of the stage. Prize Lord streaming. No, it'll be in here, so we'll get back to it on the intro side.
Oh no, Pi, you missed it. I'll put a version of the intro for everybody who has missed the intro for people to listen to later. That's Pi. Hi, Pi.
Hi, Pi.
Lord Pumpkin.
Lord Pumpkin, you did a good job. Thank you so much. The other thing that I did while I was in there that was definitely be a do is because I did a lot of yelling lines.
Yes.
I stepped.
Rain hell from above.
You want to step back. You don't want to still be in front of your mic because you're going to throw everything off. Don't be afraid. I went as far back as I could. For those of you that are watching this, my sound booth is right here. This is literally my sound booth that's right next to me. I have a 4 feet in there, and I think I hit the back because I was going super, super loud. So when you're in there, don't be afraid to go out and especially as Eldurrino has said, move your head a little bit to the side so you're not blowing directly into that. So that's definitely a do for me.
And definitely, it's from a cutter's perspective, I'd rather have it be quieter than peaking, because if it peaks, you can't do anything to it. If it's quieter, I can add stuff to it. It's the opposite of cooking. Less is better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that was something I did want to talk about as well is especially with the character that I use for Renara's intro, I yell a lot. That's one of my fortes. And so that is something I've become very used to or accustomed to, is getting away from the mic. Like it's super important, as you said, that to try to avoid peaking, not only because it makes editing a nightmare or impossible, but also because it really will ruin your take. You'll notice that there's going to be a lot of like garble when you listen back to it. And if you look at the audio file as well, you'll notice that the wavelengths are normally somewhere right around the middle if it's a good take. But if you're peaking, it's going to be just a solid black block essentially. Certainly want to avoid that at all costs. So if you know that you're going to be doing a yelling line, step away from the mic. It's I know we've covered this before, but general rule of thumb is kind of do like the surf's up bro thing with your pinky and your thumb, put it to your chin, and that's about the distance away from your mic that you want to be when you're at a normal speaking volume. However, depending on how you're going to deliver the line, whether it be normal, whisper, or yelling, you'd want to adjust where you're going to be during that. For my yelling, I'm usually back about 1.5 feet. I angle myself about 45 degrees from the microphone to avoid any additional weird breaths that are picked up, and then I just let it go. But as a trade-off, whispers are super quiet. If you're back away from the mic, or even the normal speaking volume away from your mic, you may not get the best clarity, and therefore I usually tend to kind of lean in a little bit more, using my pop filter almost as like a measurement, where I kind of just I move like I'm normally. For people who can watch the video on this, I keep my pop filter just an inch or two away from my microphone. When I'm whispering, I will move it back about maybe about 4 or 5 inches, and then I put my face right up to it, and still angling off just to make sure that any extra air is avoiding the microphone. But that way you are closer to the mic. It is going to pick up the full tone of your voice, and then you don't have to worry about having a really good take and then all of a sudden it's unusable because it needs to be adjusted in editing, and then when in the editing process you hear a bunch of background noise or whatnot. So yeah, just a little tidbit about where you should place your face,
which is very important.
I was just going to answer Burnham's quick thing of that. In Burnham's, there were a few peakings ones, but I was able to salvage them because they weren't super solid. It was more like the middle part had peaked, but you still had a rounded edge. So I was still able to utilize that. For some reason, I don't quite know what the difference is between when it's either further to the top or further to the bottom, because Pashley's ones do that too, where you've got like a big dip that goes down, but it's not a both ways. I'm not quite sure what that
is. It's bass versus treble.
Right.
Treble is the higher frequencies, bass being the lower frequencies. So if you see a dip in the low, that means there's too much low frequency in there.
Because what I do to fit, because sometimes I get people's audio, because everyone's mic is different and everybody's like different setups are different. So I spend a lot of time just with everybody's individual line audio settings, just adding treble or taking away bass, or just making them all to a point where they are they don't sound too dissimilar, if you know what I mean. Sort of thing. So even if there is some peaking, if I mean a good audio editor can figure that out, but it's worth trying to not have that in there in the first place, sort of thing, because not everyone can do that.
Gotcha.
But Zamoody, go for it.
No, so I've up on the screen, and I'm sharing up in Discord if you all want to listen too. This is essentially what we're looking for when it comes to this. I'm 90% sure this is going to be a pickup right here. This is going to be me literally saying
pickup,
pickup. So this is what I know. This is obviously the take beforehand.
I found it. Pickup. I found it on the last shelf.
So you notice I started it and it's like, no, I didn't like it, so I stopped it. So some people use a clicker, some people use a particular word. Mine is pickup because it looks specifically like this, so it makes it super easy for me to find. As you can tell, this was a very long session. This is my full raw session for Renara, and I think the sneeze is over here.
That's the sneeze.
I don't think you want that.
The echo just gives it that next level.
I don't think you want that, is what I said at the end. so that's what we're looking for when it comes to if you're in the booth, and especially if you're looking through. So the one thing that I will start saying, I started machine gunning my auditions when it comes to voices.com. So what I'll do ahead of time is I will look at those that I think will fit for me, and I will line them all up so I can just do it all in one session now. So I would initially go in, do the audition, come out, edit it, put it up, and then do my proposal and send it. Now I'm doing like all of them in a row. I'll read the number, I'll read the topic, and then just put them all out, and I can do it in like half the time.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how much time it takes you to get in there, get set up, put on the headphones, and get everything going. We see the destruction level 5 vocation. So my tip on that one would definitely, because it's taken me over a year to figure that out. There's a lot of time in the setup and getting in there and getting in the right mindset. If I've already got it ahead of time, then I just push forward. So yeah, that's my tip on that one.
Cool.
That's really good advice. I used to do that myself. And I kind of migrated away from doing that because I'm very particular about organizing files on my machine, working in IT for many, many years. So I tend to, I do an audition, I do my set of lines, I save the file, I then delete everything out of it and then resave the blank document as, the name of whatever I'm auditioning for next. Mostly just because that way I can avoid redoing all the settings and whatnot, such as when I'm recording, I generally have a compressor just to make the process of exporting it a lot easier. I don't have to go back over and edit levels and stuff like that just to make it level. But it is, you're right in that it does save time. In that, like, say you only have an hour to 2 hours and you have 10 auditions you want to go through. It certainly isn't a bad idea to just simply start with one, start recording, and keep everything within the same file, because you can always go back later and once you're in the editing process, just choose to, divvy them up into separate projects if you see fit. I personally do it that way just because, again, I'm very particular about my organization, as well as I like keeping records of everything so that if I do need to go back, say I audition for something and I don't hear anything for 6 months, and then all of a sudden I get cast for it, I may not necessarily remember how I did a certain voice or what I used as a certain effect or whatnot. So I like to keep records of all of that stuff just for my own sanity, because I would feel bad about getting a role and then being like, I don't remember what I did, so sorry, I can't accept. So it's definitely a trade-off depending, I guess, on how much time you have in the booth. If you have a short amount of time, it's probably better just to machine gun it. If you're not so stressed about time, or you only have a few auditions to do, it may not necessarily be a bad idea to just kind of organize everything itself, and then that way you don't have to do it later.
So
to
let me.
tack on to
Sorry,
that,
go ahead.
I was going to say to tack on to that in regards, if you are doing something that with attack lines and with normal speaking thing, what I believe, what I do is that I will do all the normal speaking lines in one file, and then all of the attack lines on their own just in another one. Not only just because that you've got different vocal textures and different vocal strains for difference between attack lines and normal speaking lines, but also it just makes it easier for the file cutters or whoever's taking your audio to go, right, I know exactly what these are and I know what these are. It's what they wanted for Skywind, it's what I do for my projects. It just makes it that bit easier, and to not only does it streamline your performance, you know exactly what you need to focus on, it also just speeds up the project as a whole, I would say, in that regard. I was going to talk about something else, but it completely it's gone.
Well, while you're doing that, well, let me go back and clarify my particular point. When it comes to machine gunning, especially on voices.com, 95% of what's on there is all commercial voices. So there's 3 variations to a commercial voice. There's either the young voice, which I tend to pitch up. There's the cool voice, which you had a little bit of rasp and you keep moving on, and then there's the trailer voice. So those are generally the 3 that you're going to work with. If you're trying to build a character, for sure you don't want to go in there and try to machine gun everything. You want to study and try to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you think of what you're going to say, Renara?
I think I was just going to talk about like small bits and pieces with the spells and things like that. Because, and things like that, because because I haven't done casting spells yet, so this was the first time I ever did that sort of thing in the booth. So first of all, I just went to a random Elvish generator to find literally the words to say.
Nice.
So if you can actually translate the words I say in the opening, because they do mean something.
Nice
but
touch.
Also, I had a thought in my brain. I went, okay, what type of spell is this? What hand movements, like how in One Division they trained the actors to do certain hand movements for the magic and things like that. I just sort of went, right, okay, if I'm casting a fireball, this is what I'm throwing my hand out, or I'm throwing it forward, or I'm doing those movements like Eldurrino said in the booth. I'm probably overdoing them slightly, because not to the point where I'm overdoing it myself, like hurting myself, but with voice acting, because you don't have your face, you don't have the rest of you. I always tend to put just a little bit more into that, because then it comes across in your voice. Because I've listened to old like takes of things and gone, I sound really flat, but I felt like I was doing a lot in that, but I sound really flat. So I was like, okay, bump it up just that extra bit, little bit more. Even if it sounds a little bit too much for you in the booth, it probably won't sound that way on the actual recording. So that would be my little tidbit for when you are doing these things. Just go at like 110% and really go at it, and like pretend you are throwing that fireball. Pretend you, because for one of the actors in my piece for the assassin and the healer, he was really struggling because his character was holding a woman hostage. Like he had this woman holding hostage, and he had to throw her to the ground, and he was struggling to get that effort sound of throwing something. So I went, okay, right, do you have something heavy near you? He was like, I have my tripod near me. Pick up your tripod. He named his tripod. I've forgotten what it's called. I was like, okay, now throw your tripod across the room.
Like, just for legitimately find us, like, get your beanbag, throw it on the beanbag, and just by doing that, you're not faking that effort in there. You are literally throwing something, so it does sound right. It sounds like the action you're doing. For me, I had to do the first versions of those for my audiobook, which is against Ansel, who is Edel. She has cross swords on Selenia, who's my character. So I held a suitcase above my head and just had it super heavy and just spoke my lines through that. And so if you have objects or things available to you, that not only helps, I think, in that you've got more space to visualize the character rather than focusing on how am I supposed to do this, if you know what I mean. So if you have things available to you, I'd say utilize them. I do not condone anyone breaking anything in the process.
Actually, yeah, I was about to say, Cold Read the Podcast does not condone you throwing things about just in case you will hit somebody or break something.
I cannot stress this enough. If you have props, use props, because when you're using a prop, when your hands are doing something while you're trying to speak a line or read a line, whichever, it's going to bring a more interesting, natural thing to what you're doing because you're preoccupied by the other thing. So for the couple of D&D openings that I have had the fortune to be a part of, whenever in the first one, anytime I was talking, saying absolutely anything, Ravenmane, Warburton Guard, in front of me, I was just taking my string winder and I was literally just doing this. And the reason I was doing this is because it's just really nice, like whatever. Ravenmane, Warburton Guard. I'm sure you've heard of me. Just very preoccupied by the just very detached, and that's all that it took. That when I was doing the seduction line, when I was trying to seduce Gloop Dog, just very nonchalant. I have my Fitbit charger, and I was just kind of like pinching it and opening it, just like I have proficiency with a rapier, but I have expertise. Just all sorts of little things. I have this also because I'm a stage actor, which is a funny way of saying that I'm a huge narcissist. I like to have, while I'm recording, my webcam running, because if I can see what my face is doing, that gives me a really good idea of what kind of stuff.
Didn't think about that, actually.
Yeah.
I will also note
to get the
that Ravenmane is not only a stage actor, he is a award-winning stage actor.
Indeed.
He's currently pointing your head at the award.
Pride of place.
Sorry, continue. But yeah, I like that. I like being able to see your own expressions. I like that.
Because when you're when you're just reading a thing, that's one thing. But if you can see exactly what your face is doing, it gives you a great idea of maybe how you want to do a particular thing. So like to get that, like the seduction ad lib, the expertise, that really helped me a lot find what I wanted to say.
Right. Absolutely.
Pie Lord in chat is. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to add to that, I actually recorded when I was doing my Skywin lines, I actually had a video camera in the booth with me, not necessarily to record me, like to look back on, but it was for my university course, and I was technically using the voice acting to get credits in my work experience.
Nice.
Section. So I was like, I'm not getting any work opportunities in this film course. I'll just do voice acting and credit that. It works. It's self-employment. It's fine.
Efficiency.
Yeah, but I had the video camera there, and I've made a small video on my YouTube channel, not trying to plug that, but genuinely there is a video on my YouTube channel of me doing my Skywin stuff. Yeah. And it just, you can see I do this next to the camera, and I'm like or whatever, and just you see it, and it's probably if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, go watch that, because that just shows you what I'm doing.
Right. So yeah, for those of you that are watching, you're listening to us on a podcast, it was a quick thrust forward behind the mic or camera.
Sorry, I'm really bad at doing those bits.
It's quite all right. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, come on live at twitch.tv/Zamoody at noon, and also available on YouTube the next day, so we can keep up with Twitch rules. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's important. I like what you said when it comes to give it 110%, because like when Ravenmane, you're doing stage acting, they're watching your reactions and they're watching everything else. But when you're trying to tell a story with just your voice, you have to make sure to add that extra oomph in order to portray that story.
And speaking to the cooking metaphor that we had a while ago, acting is the polar opposite of cooking. You should always give more, because it's really, really easy to give way too much and then dial it back than it is to give way too little and inject more.
Right.
Okay.
I did want to add one quick thing in regards to using props. Be very selective with your props. It doesn't like you don't have to necessarily use the same object that you're going to be using as the character. And especially I learned this early on too, like jewelry is a big thing when it comes to recording. Early on I took this small course that kind of went over voice acting, and the guy does say that when you go into the booth, be yourself, wear the stuff that you normally would, even if it includes rings, earrings, necklaces, etc. But be mindful of when you're moving around, because that noise, especially with more sensitive microphones, can easily be picked up and ruin a take. So the same thing goes for props. If you're using something like a suitcase, for instance, if it has a bunch of zippers on it and you're going to start, moving it around, the sound of the zippers dangling might get picked up during your take. So it's just be very mindful of what you use during your take. I prefer not to use things unless I absolutely have to. I mean, in Ravenmane's example, using like string winder or something like that, just something to kind of like fidget with, essentially, just to keep your mind like focused in one direction, or not even focused necessarily on the thing. It can definitely help bring out a certain performance. I think that's important, but again, just be mindful of what you're using, and to make sure that it doesn't make noise in that it is going to ruin your take.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to say in regards to enhancing your performance, wink, is never be afraid to do your research. When it comes to auditioning, most people are going to gravitate towards things that they're comfortable with, and that's totally fine. If you're looking to branch out into other roles that you may not necessarily be comfortable with or may not have experience with, don't be afraid to go and look at TV shows, movies, video games, any other type of creative media for research. I think it's important to continue learning in your voice acting journey, in your voice acting journey. And you'll definitely see it pay off. Like, so for example, me and the girlfriend have been watching Once Upon a Time recently. We get to a part where a major villain comes into play. I will not name names due to spoilers, but he plays a very strange villainous role in that when he speaks, he tries to put more weight into certain words to kind of give them more gravitas or what have you, but it sounds ridiculously goofy in that he puts too much space in between his words, and it sounds horrible in my opinion. And of course that's opinion, so you can take that as you will, but I feel like he adds a lot of space where it doesn't need to be, and it's kind of sad because I do like a lot of the characters in that show, and I like how they're portrayed, and in fact I use them in some of my auditions just because I think they're very well done. And then that character came up and I was like, who cast this guy? So but again, like, think about the roles that you want to go for. Obviously work on those first if it's the things that you most enjoy, but if you want to move on outside of the normal things that you do, for myself it's the loud angry guys, the goofy roles or whatever. If I were to be looking for more serious roles, I would be looking for more serious films or video game performances, something along those lines, just to help better my performance. So do your research, folks. That's all I'm gonna say.
I also, if you're auditioning for something that is maybe part of like a franchise, so like Elder Scrolls, Walking Dead, or something like that, watch those shows, play those games, because well, again, I got reached out to by Rishi, who voices Irene, asking, is there anything I need to know for auditioning for Dunmer, because she saw the thing and she wanted to do that. And I was like, go, if you've not played the games, go and play the games. There is a specific like speaking pattern that has transcended through the games, so if you can learn to emulate that, that will give you a leg up and things like that. There are, depending on if there's already pre-existing material around something you're auditioning for, do your research, look at those things, don't copy exactly, but if take the roots of things. Like if there's a language, how are certain things said? Is there emphasis on certain parts of the words? I mean, these are very nuanced things, but the nuanced things can make or break an audition on occasion. And things like that. So also, if there is a lot of information on a casting call, read it through.
Yes.
Make sure to read everything in there, because there will most likely be something in there that most people will miss. And if you pick that up, it shows that you have taken that time and dedication to read through everything that they have put there, and it will again elevate your audition, I think, in that regard.
I agree. And it's funny because a lot of people may put a trap in there to like weed out those people that don't read. That's the green M&M concept. We've talked about that one here before too. I love how because even Gloop talked about movement and everything inside the booth, so we're kind of filling in with what Gloop said yesterday. So thank you so far. Anybody else have any other tips to enhancing the performance, Wink?
If you hurt yourself, take some breaks. I guess.
And try not to hurt yourself.
That's a good one.
In general, we've talked about it in Pashley's Castle. Warming up is super important. Loosening up the lips, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of reading or narrating. If it hurts, yes. If it hurts, stop.
I have a Pashley today.
I know we're missing a Pash today.
I know.
But I think we've actually done a really good job covering. You mentioned Skywind, Renara.
I did.
Do you want to give us a quick overview of what it is? Because I've got something queued up that I want to play.
Skywind is a huge worldwide project which is taking Morrowind, which I think was the third Elder Scrolls game, which is the one that sort of skyrocketed their popularity. It didn't have any voice actors in it to start. Well, it had few voice actors in it to start with, because it was the first stepping stone into taking like Dungeons and Dragons-esque type board games and putting them into a video game format. So it was the first of its sort of kind to hit the market, and it exploded. What they are doing is they're taking Skyrim's engine and bits of Elder Scrolls Online and the engines they use for those games, and they are applying it to Morrowind. So it's Skywind, hence the merging of the names. And so what they had is, it started, the earliest record I can find is 2014, because I recently met somebody who joined then, but it could have started a lot earlier than that. I joined 2016 and it's still going, but we are reaching the end of getting all of the voices, basically. We have like there's about 30 Dunmer females and about 35 Dunmer males left. So it's coming to a close we nearly have everybody. So if you are interested, get to the casting call and then go for it. There are still some stuff left. But yeah, so what this is that because recently I got my lines in, this is first sneak peek glimpses of what the game is going to look like with the voice lines implemented. This is the one that they put into their recent advertisement thing. So this is me. I also showed this to the kids at work as well in my form, and they were confused.
Aww.
Because they didn't understand, like, where's Suran? Isn't that in Africa?
Aww.
That's Sudan, darling. I'm so sorry. This is all make believe. Are you in GTA, miss? No. I work with teenagers, Ravenmane, so I
Terrifying.
I know. Yeah.
My actual IRL nightmare.
Yeah.
Always super excited to celebrate all of our people getting some roles. So if you don't mind, we'll play a couple minutes of this.
Oh, quick disclaimer. They skip over a few lines in this one because in the other one I sent you, they go through those ones, but the ones that they haven't gone in that one, they've shown in this one. Does that make sense?
Well, this one's 6 minutes long, and the other one was like 15. So
Right. Okay.
we're gonna go with this one.
Okay.
Here we go. And there's no audio.
No, there is no audio at the start.
Oh, gotcha.
Because there is no audio at the start. This is really rough. They haven't added everything in at the moment. This is
Gotcha.
just face bits.
It's funny because I
So-
watched the other one. I probably should have watched this one ahead of time too.
Yeah, no, there's little audio to start with.
All
and
right,
then
well, I'll tell you what,
it figures itself out in a second.
This will be a pickup moment because I'm just gonna go ahead and put the other one up then.
Yeah, the other one is slightly better. I will admit. Or
I'm very
Oh, that is the same one.
personal preference then.
Gotcha.
I'm
but yeah,
definitely
no.
very excited for this mod to come out because, like, I
Again,
haven't
you
played Skyrim in forever, but I will play this just to hear your voice, Renara.
You can see that they haven't got the shadings right. All the assets in this game are handmade. All of them are
Wow.
handmade. The dagger you see me wearing, some of the clothes they've imported from Skyrim, but they are adding tweaks and stuff, obviously, to make it more appropriate for Morrowind.
Mhm.
But everything you see in there has been made by someone. So, yeah.
What's
the
funny
the
is-
mouth tracking is not there yet either.
I'm gonna have to wait till like everybody because I've got Tethras and I've got Telmatarian coming out. Those are my two companions. I'm gonna have to wait till it's all together
yeah.
and just like throw it all and then do it all in one playthrough. Yeah.
Well, I've also got lines which make because I put this in on for myself. I've got extra lines which make my characters followers, so I can follow the player around.
Nice.
Oh, neat.
All right. Let's see if this will go.
And annoy you with my very, very posh British voice. They're just typing in code to let the quest activate so I can speak. Because they've not pathed everything yet. Oh, there should be sound by now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I don't know
Should
why
be
it's not.
That's weird. Why is it
No.
not doing
Well, that
it?
might.
Plays me.
Well, it may not. It just may be routed differently. So unfortunately, this may be one of those technical glitches that I probably should have looked at ahead of time before we started this. Let me
It's
go
fine.
ahead. This is fine. This is another pickup moment. I'm gonna try to manually route everything over and see if that changes anything. Oh yeah, I heard that. It wasn't very loud.
I didn't hear anything.
You would have to join the channel in the Discord.
Oh.
Let me know when you're in.
I have no idea where I'm going. Where am I going?
I'm not sharing it anymore. Oh, that's right, because I had to open a new one. There we go. Because the one thing I notice is as soon as you start, the first thing you tell the person is, "Get out of here!" And then all of a sudden you start, "Welcome, adventurer." All right,
Classic.
let's try it.
Okay. So then.
Says them activating it.
Yeah.
It's very quiet.
Okay.
Well, if you've come all this way, I suppose you can ask a few questions. Oh, yes, sir. The Hortator thing, right? They said if I knew what was good for me, I would do as you asked. So, you want to be a Hortator. I make you a Hortator, I vote for you. That's all I have to do, right? Once all the councillors agree, make sure you see Crassius Curio. A Hortator is a champion who leads by inspiration. They challenge opposing heroes in single combat. They go on long, desperate quests. They go alone into the citadels of the enemy. They confront the dangers no one else in the house is strong enough or courageous enough to face. If you're heading into the back country, always carry a couple of restore health, restore fatigue, cure disease, and cure blight potions with you. In Morrowind, we don't like to hear about vampires. We know that back west, the Mages Guild helps them hide. The Mages Guild is full of necromancers, and we don't like that one bit. If we see a vampire here in Morrowind, we put him on a stake and roast him. Well, truth be, we tell the Ordinators, let them care for it. Private citizens have no business fighting vampires. They're too dangerous. Imperials worship powerful spirits, but are they the right spirits? They are powerful. We used to worship the Daedra, but now we worship the true gods, the Tribunal. And the Daedra serve the true gods in fear and humility. By Telvanni custom, killing is okay, if you can get away with it, and if it serves your purposes. Killing is neither sinful nor dishonorable. The great houses are always fighting each other in the great house war.
They do start to skip
Yeah,
through
yeah,
a few of them. Yeah.
I noticed that, and I was about to talk about that too. All right, well, that's the end of the clip. That's very, very cool. It's nice to hear your voice in that particular one.
It's so cool. If people want to check out the other one, they can go see the video on Skywind's thing, because the main thing really from that is just a couple of other extra lines, but a lot of the other one is them skipping through it.
You know, and because after a while when I'm playing this game, I accidentally do that too, and I accidentally hit that button.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm guilty of that in Elder Scrolls Online as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so cool. I finally, it's been like years of like just plowing away at it, and then just to finally sort of see it come to fruition is like, oh, this is so good.
And that does tend to happen a lot when it comes to these particular projects, is that you're going to put in all this work and you won't see anything for such a long time, and all of a sudden you start seeing it happen. And it tends to come in buckets.
It does. The universe has this weird thing of just pulling everything back and then just going poof.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me go ahead and take a second to say thank you to our guest host, Ravenmane. I appreciate you being here as always. Just jazz snaps for you to be present. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been a great episode. I mean, just from the very beginning, thank you for setting the stage, Renara, with that absolutely incredible intro.
Wait. Just like Lord of the Rings, there's a third one.
Oh, there's gonna be a third one.
No, I have it planned out. We know exactly what we're doing.
And it's funny because
it's not my go. It's not my go next week.
No, and it's not. And I've already said Pashley. It's Pashley's turn, and she's already exclaimed to that particular entry. So, sorry, Pash, but hey, this is how the particular ones roll out. We did really good. I think we learned a lot about enhancing performance, do's and don'ts when it comes to doing this recording. I'm starting because Eldurrino and we were playing Monster Hunter. I like the topic of bad voice acting.
Yeah.
I think we may have to go down that road for next one. And in addition, we need to find a scene that all four of us can fix.
Yes.
And then we'll play that. So
I like it.
I think we'll get into the group. We'll have this conversation, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this. So we have to find a bad one first, and then we got to figure out how we're gonna fix it. And we may recruit help. Ravenmane, Burnham, we're watching all you guys. Pie, everybody. Yes, we'll call for help. But this is a little longer than usual. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it. It was worth it. I mean, the intro again was absolutely incredible. That bar needs to come back down, because I'm afraid by the time it gets to me or Eldurrino, or even I know Pashley's got a hard job. But if you have any topics or questions, please email us at ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for those of you that were in chat. It was always so nice to have you. If you want us to listen to your audition, send it in. We'll love to listen to it. We'll give you constructive feedback. We will not make fun of you.
We are here to help. That is why we are doing this.
Until then, keep those auditions going. And that's a wrap. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.